summer campaign, week 9, I believe.
Week 9?
Welcome,
Crikey.
Will.
Thank you, Jack.
Not very summery, we are not outside this week, but that doesn't matter because we are going to talk to you about something that kind of relates to the summer, but also the summer doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We want to address a common misconception we hear at House of Bread that we only help the homeless.
Yes.
So, Will, briefly tell us why we're going to be discussing this week.
There's a misunderstanding or misinformation about who we might support within the community. And for a long time, in the early days, we used to call ourselves a charity that supported the homeless and the vulnerable. But it became quite obvious early on that actually everybody we support, everybody who comes into House of Bread, is vulnerable. Some of them are homeless.
So the reason we're talking about this is because of the misunderstanding. Why did we suddenly realise that everybody is vulnerable? Was it because people were coming in, I say was it because I know the answer to the question, was it because people who were coming in who weren't homeless, who were just as vulnerable?
It was, and a lot of it relates to social isolation. People who are living on their own in quite often difficult circumstances where they're just able to manage their tenancy. And so there's a lot of anxiety and issues around family connections and isolation. And so they are vulnerable in slightly different ways. And so really, actually, it's that sort of area that has expanded significantly. And so keeping somebody in a tenancy by support, advice, guidance, or, putting them in touch with an agency is actually more significant because actually they're not getting to the homeless situation. So we're getting in there, early intervention. And so the critical thing, particularly this time of year, is more and more people are experiencing just being on their own a lot. A lot of people go away, but for a lot of our friends, nothing actually changes.
And beyond that, there also is what you could deem functioning addicts.
Yes.
So there might be a lot of people out there who are addicted to something,
Yeah.
maybe only low-level addiction that hasn't cost them their
Yeah.
home yet or their relationships with their family yet, but it's getting towards that. So those people need that help before they get to the homelessness and completely abandoned situation.
Yeah, and one of the issues, one of the great partnerships that we are building and developing with those agencies that can take people on beyond what we're able to do. So we're about, being non-judgmental, open, approachable. So let's get that person in, understand what their need is, and then link them up with the agency, and if necessary, take them physically to the agency who can get on with the work. So we're the people that provide the food, the chicken sandwich, and the coffee, and it's the other agencies who are employed by statutory provision or government that can actually deliver that care, but it's the gap between. And we've noticed a lot of families, particularly around this time of year, who are really, really struggling as utility costs go up. The basic
Holiday hunger, as
we talk about. And so the vulnerability has really expanded. And it seems to be a lot of a younger age group at the moment, which is worrying. Young people who are living on their own, perhaps they've left the family home for a complicated reason and haven't really got the skill set to actually live on their own. They've not experienced that. They're not sure about budgeting, basic cooking. So a lot of the advice and guidance that we're giving is just how to be living safely, sensibly, encourage them not to engage with inappropriate behaviours and misuse of substances. Very difficult if your life revolves around people who are living next door. But it's giving people the power and the strength to raise their self-esteem.
Yeah, and another one of the criticisms often levelled to us is, you're giving food to scroungers and stuff like that, and that person can afford to feed themselves. Why are you giving them free food? And to put it very simply, you can relate it to if a friend of yours invites you round to the house. You can afford to eat yourself, you can afford to make some food, but you're eating for free. So are you scrounging off your friends? Yeah. No, you're going for social interaction. Yeah. You might go and be talking to them, about asking them for some advice with something you're struggling with. So what we are to a lot of the people who come to House of Bread are their friends, which is why we call them friends. So if anybody's watching this video and they think, we don't agree with what House of Bread do, or generally we don't agree with this kind of charity food banks, or if you know somebody who thinks that, please do show them our videos or bring them down here, because we want to show people that because somebody is coping doesn't mean they will be able to cope all the way through their struggles. They might drop off, and then suddenly people become homeless, and it's, oh, you're homeless, you're a burden on the NHS, and all that kind of. But if somebody had helped them before that, when they were a scrounger, they wouldn't have got into that position.
Yeah, there's another really interesting thing is that some people come in and ask for a food bag, and what we do all the time is we just say, of course we can help you in the immediate term, but how did you get to this place? What is it that got you here? And very often the backstory is a benefit fail or family bereavement or some problem. So actually the food bag ask is just the front door. It's when we have the conversation about that person. Had we not engaged with them, then they would have gone off and the complication would have got worse.
And what is a food bag? It's only a very small amount of food, and if we didn't offer that, their situation could have snowballed.
Yeah.
So I was talking to somebody today actually about a lovely conversation I had with a lady in Asda years ago who said, what you're doing is wrong, food isn't going to solve the issues. And I said to her, you are completely 100% correct. The food we give out is not going to solve people's problems, but the conversation that comes from the food, the relationships that build from either us or other volunteers or the CAB that build through the food is what the important thing is.
That's the draw in, and also things like the toiletries and clothes and the facility of the shower.
Well, anything we give out for free.
It gives people self-respect in a way that would enable them to go to that tough meeting that they're going to. So I think people need to think about greater levels of kindness and understanding. As you said, Jack, if anybody's watching this, it's a challenge, come and talk to us about it. You know, I don't mind you criticising us after you've been here, but I do find it difficult if you have a view that is not informed. And I defy anybody not to be affected emotionally by what you're seeing. This is the society we live in, folks.
And
you know, real world.
Being informed is not seeing what's in the news, is not reading what's in the paper. Being informed is coming down and having conversations with people, because, you know, I was as ill-informed as the next person. We have run out of time, Will. We could talk about this for hours, but we're not going to bore you with that. So, yes, thank you very much, Will.
Important stuff, that. Yeah, thank you.
It really is important. Thank you very much for watching, as always. If you want to know what we're doing day to day, don't forget to check out Hob News on Sundays at 4 o'clock. It's always chaos. It's always great. These are the important videos for everybody, so please like and share these videos and show them to as many people as you want. If they start asking you to stop, probably a good idea too. We will stop talking now and let you get on with the rest of your Wednesday or whatever day you're watching this. Thank you very much for watching once more. Goodbye.